Have you ever closed your laptop at 2 a.m. and felt nothing? Not relief, not excitement, just a blank, echoing hum in your chest. That deep, unsettling emptiness, that pervasive sense of meaninglessness, is precisely what Friedrich Nietzsche foresaw way back in 1882 when he famously declared, "God is dead." And no, he wasn't popping champagne corks. He wasn't celebrating a new age of enlightenment. Instead, he was issuing a profound, almost chilling, warning about the existential crisis he believed humanity was hurtling towards. Nietzsche didn't personally kill God, he merely reported the murder. For centuries, religious and metaphysical foundations had provided humanity with a bedrock of meaning, a clear moral compass, and a sense of cosmic purpose. But by the late 19th century, the relentless march of science, the burgeoning industrial revolution, and the spread of mass education had already begun to chip away at that ancient edifice. Reason and empirical observation were dismantling the old certainties, one by one. The philosopher, with his uncanny foresight, simply looked ahead and realized that once this ultimate source of meaning topples, once those grand narratives unravel, humanity would be left standing in the spiritual rubble with no ready-made replacement. He called the inevitable fallout nihilism, that creeping, insidious sense that nothing truly matters, that all values are ultimately arbitrary, mere human constructs. It's the feeling that every grand ideal, every noble aspiration, is just a story we tell ourselves to get through the day. Fast forward to now, and doesn't it feel like Nietzsche's diagnosis is ripped straight from today's headlines? Church pews sit increasingly empty, political slogans ring hollow and inspire cynicism rather than conviction, and every new self-help guru or product promises a profound purpose it never quite delivers. We're awash in information, yet starved for meaning. We're connected, yet deeply alone. The foundations have crumbled, and we're left asking, now what? This crisis of values, where we struggle to find purpose without transcendental beliefs, is exactly what Nietzsche predicted. The collapse of meaning doesn't look like a Hollywood explosion, it feels more like a slow, suffocating apathy. This is where Nietzsche introduces us to his last man, a creature designed for comfort, not challenge. This individual scrolls, streams, and swipes through an endless feed of curated content, preferring passive entertainment over active engagement. They choose comfort over risk, convenience over conviction, and, crucially, mistake fleeting dopamine hits for genuine flourishing. Sound familiar? The last man craves wellness without effort, community without the commitment of deep relationships, and the appearance of greatness without the struggle of earning it. Social media, with its instant gratification and curated realities, has handed the last man a perfect digital pacifier. Algorithms, meticulously designed to keep us hooked, feed us microdoses of outrage, affirmation, and envy, effectively keeping deeper reflection and self-knowledge at bay. We're constantly stimulated but rarely challenged. Meanwhile, consumer culture steps in to fill the void, selling identity in plastic-wrapped bundles, vegan leather, pre-distressed denim, smart home meditation pods, and 1,000 other superficial markers. It promises individuality through conformity, purpose through purchase. You can almost hear Nietzsche rolling his eyes from the grave, muttering, "You've replaced cathedrals with shopping carts, and profound existential questions with endless scrolling." He warned that modern life's relentless pace and myriad distractions would impair our ability to reflect and truly know ourselves, leading to a society that values constant activity and superficial engagement over deep, meaningful thought. We've become masters of distraction, adept at avoiding the blank hum in our chests. Strip life of a higher purpose, remove the shared narratives that once bound us, and people will inevitably latch onto anything that explains their pain, their confusion, or their perceived failures. Nietzsche, with chilling accuracy, predicted the rise of today's populist firebrands who thrive on resentment. These figures expertly channel collective frustration, blaming convenient scapegoats, be it elites, foreigners, tech billionaires, or some shadowy, deep state, for why life feels so thin, so unfair, so utterly lacking in meaning for so many. He called this phenomenon slave morality, a system where one defines oneself not by what one creates, achieves, or aspires to, but by who or what one opposes, resents, or despises. It's a reactive morality, born of weakness and aimed at tearing down perceived superiors. Both the political left and right can, and often do, play this game with devastating effectiveness. We see virtue signaling on one side, fear-mongering on the other, both designed to rile up the base, solidify tribal loyalties, and distract from the real, deeper questions of meaning and purpose that plague us. The result? Our public square feels less like a forum for reasoned debate and more like a gladiatorial cage match, where emotional appeals and performative outrage trump genuine dialogue. Nietzsche also saw the rise and worship of the modern state as a cold monster, claiming to represent the people while subtly controlling and manipulating them, further contributing to this climate of resentment and manipulation. He was deeply critical of mass politics, believing it promoted mediocrity and suppressed the very individuals capable of creating new values. It's no coincidence that therapists report record levels of anxiety, depression, and generalized malaise. We're living in an age of unprecedented material comfort, yet profound psychological distress. While medication can certainly help manage the symptoms, it doesn't, and can't, sew back together a torn cultural fabric. It doesn't refurnish the empty room of the modern mind. Nietzsche's profound insight wasn't that suffering is inherently evil or that we should avoid pain at all costs. Quite the opposite. He argued that humans can endure almost any pain, face almost any hardship, if only they know why they're enduring it. If there's a purpose, a higher aim, a meaning attached to the struggle, then even the most arduous journey can be borne with a sense of heroic resolve. But remove that why, remove the overarching narrative, the shared values, the transcendent goals, and the same ache that once felt heroic now feels utterly pointless, soul-crushingly absurd. The modern mind becomes a tenant in an unfurnished, echoing room, perpetually asking, is this all there is? What's the point of any of it? This erosion of traditional values and the loss of illusions like free will, as Nietzsche noted, leaves us vulnerable to profound psychological distress when we lack self-created meaning. Nihilism wasn't Nietzsche's final destination, it was a dangerous, desolate pass we must cross to reach higher ground. Beyond that treacherous landscape stands the Übermensch, literally, Overman, or Superman. Now, before you picture a caped beefcake in tights, understand that superhero comics borrowed the term and, frankly, warped it. The Übermensch isn't about dominating others or possessing superhuman physical strength. It's anyone who consciously, courageously crafts personal values strong enough to replace the inherited, crumbling ones. It's about becoming the architect of your own meaning, rather than passively receiving it. Think of Malala Yousafzai, writing her own script on education in the face of brutal oppression. Or a brilliant coder, walking away from a six-figure job to build low-cost prosthetics for those in need, driven by an internal imperative. The goal isn't to dominate others, but to master yourself, to overcome your own inertia, your own fears, your own conditioning. It's about saying a resounding yes to life in its totality, including its thorns, its suffering, its inherent difficulties. This radical affirmation, this love of one's own destiny, is what Nietzsche labeled amor fati, the love of fate. It's not resignation, it's an active, joyful embrace of everything that happens, transforming necessity into beauty, and turning every challenge into an opportunity for self-overcoming and creation. This is how we escape nihilism, by creating our own values and affirming life authentically. For those ready to make the ascent, Nietzsche offers two profound concepts that double as practical gear for the climb. First, there's the will to power. This isn't about power over other people, which is a common misinterpretation. Instead, it's about power over projects, power over oneself, power as creative drive. It's the fundamental human urge to overcome, to grow, to create, to assert oneself in a meaningful way. Channel that ambition, that innate drive, into building something substantial, an ethical company that genuinely serves its community, a vibrant community garden that brings people together, a novel that makes strangers weep, a new scientific theory that pushes the boundaries of knowledge. It's an active, generative force that stands in stark contrast to the passive, materialistic consumption that defines the last man. It's about becoming a sculptor of your own life and the world around you, rather than just a consumer of it. Second, consider eternal recurrence, a radical thought experiment that asks, if you had to live this exact life, with all its joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures, again and again, for all eternity, would you say yes? If the answer is a resounding no, then it's a powerful signal. It demands that you tweak today, that you reshape your choices, your actions, your very being, until the answer becomes an enthusiastic yes. Both of these ideas serve as a potent yank, pulling us out of passive scrolling and superficial engagement, and thrusting us into active, intentional creation. They are calls to cultivate a life so rich in purpose and authenticity that you'd want to relive every moment. Nietzsche, with a wry smile, often joked that future readers would understand him, after they had wandered through the very maze he so meticulously mapped out. Contemporary scholars now place the full fruition of his crisis of meaning around the end of the 21st century. Looking around, it certainly feels like we're right on schedule, doesn't it? The erosion of traditional values and the collapse of grand narratives are undeniably here. Yet, crises, as terrifying as they might be, are also profound opportunities. When old certainties crumble, when the familiar structures that once held us together collapse, a vast, open space emerges. This isn't just a void, it's a fertile ground for new possibilities. It's an invitation for new certainties, new values, and new meanings to be born, provided, of course, that we step up and supply them. It's a chance to build something stronger, more authentic, and more aligned with our deepest human potential. So, what do we actually do tomorrow morning, when the laptop is closed and the hum in your chest returns? The challenge is both simple and profound. Pick one domain you complain about, one area of your life or the world that irritates or disappoints you, and decide to own it. Don't just vent, act. Annoyed by the shallow discourse and performative outrage on social media? Instead of endlessly doom-scrolling, start posting thoughtful, reflective threads that invite genuine conversation. Hate consumer waste and planned obsolescence? Instead of just griping, launch a local repair cafe, teach others how to fix things, or support businesses that prioritize durability. Frustrated by the lack of community? Organize a neighborhood cleanup, start a book club, or volunteer for a local cause. Each small, deliberate act of value creation, each conscious choice to build rather than just criticize, is a powerful vote against the passive, comfort-seeking last man and a decisive step towards becoming the active, meaning-making Übermensch. Don't wait for permission, don't expect a guru to hand you the answers, and certainly don't rely on a political savior to fix everything. Nietzsche's entire project screams that meaning is not found, it is made. It's a DIY endeavor, a personal responsibility, and the most vital task of RTI. Nietzsche's prophecy isn't a curse, it's a weather alert, a stark warning, but also a profound invitation. The hurricane he foresaw is indeed howling outside, stripping away dead branches, exposing the rot in our foundations. But the very same storm also clears the way, making space for new, vibrant growth. The death of external gods, of inherited meanings, is terrifying only if we refuse to birth our own internal purpose, to cultivate our own values. The philosopher isn't asking you to worship him, to follow his every word blindly, he's asking you to outgrow him. He's challenging you to become the author of your own yes-saying life, a life so rich and meaningful that you would embrace it, again and again, for all eternity. So, comment below with the value you plan to create this week, hit like if you're ready to trade comfort for depth, and subscribe for more philosophy that doesn't just punch you in the brain, it leaves you standing taller, ready to build.